Hey YouTube, what's going on? James and Flappy. This video is going to address a problem a lot of people run into, which is the problem of keeping the plane on the center line. Often in the flight simulators, various aircraft, you'll be taxiing them and they'll do a sharp right off the runway. And don't forget to keep watching this video, because at the end I'm going to give 3 simple tips that you can use to improve your flight gear experience. So let's get into the video. Oh, there's spiders in here. Die.
A few moments later.
Tip number 1. An important thing to understand in flight gear is you can control both the weather and the time settings of flight gear. If you're not interested in doing crosswind landings, or you just want to see the sunshine and have calm days to fly, you can change the settings of flight gear. Flight gear takes weather data off the internet to create the weather scenarios. You can prevent this from happening and can completely control a perfectly calm day by going up to environment, weather, going to simple weather, and choosing fair weather from the drop down menu. This gives you beautiful fair weather, few clouds and little wind. You can also go to manual configuration and manually configure the altitude and the wind at various altitudes. It gives you precipitation settings so you can simulate rain or snow for all kinds of scenarios. See, it's important to remember a crosswind can affect how your plane will behave. Tip number 2, fuel and payload. Fuel and payload can make a huge difference to how your aircraft handles in the air as well as how it moves on the ground. You can access this by going to equipment, fuel and payload. The plane is full, but if I empty the tanks, 2 things will happen. The plane will be very light, and more prone to wind, and it will also not behave as it's intended.
Day 2.
Tip number 3. This is a way a lot of people prevent the plane from going off the runway. They taxi the plane onto the runway using the enter and 0 keys on the keyboard like this. Get a more precise steering by going and selecting tiller steering. However, not all aircraft support this. Tiller steering works particularly well with your Boeing 777. Tip number 4. Update flight gear. Sometimes having an older version of flight gear can also be just as a problem. Make sure you've got the latest version of flight gear running on your computer. This is version flight gear 2018 3.2, which is quite developed, especially here in Hawaii where we are. So make sure you have the most developed version of flight gear installed. Flight gear is being continually developed, meaning that it's continually being made better. That's why you need to make sure you update it, because less developed aircraft or less developed versions of the program could be the reason your aircraft are banking sharply off the runway. And lastly, tip number 5, check aircraft development. As a good rule of thumb, aircraft that are more developed are the default aircraft, such as the Cessna 172, the Boeing 777, and the Boeing 747. These aircraft are a lot more developed in flight gear as they have been in flight gear for long. Hopefully these few tips have helped you to stay on the runway while you're landing and taking off. Hopefully you're doing better than I am. Before we finish, as I promised, 3 simple tips to make your flight gear experience 100% better. 1. Render settings. Render settings are very important. Like any game, flight gear has render settings where you can have the performance, either performance or the quality. We can change from performance to quality by dragging this slider, and you'll see very quickly the result.
1 eternity later.
Number 2, atmospheric light scattering, or ALS. Turning on ALS can make a massive difference. The atmospheric light scattering is a more accurate depiction of what it looks like in real life, and turning it on makes a huge difference. One final tip to give you the ultimate experience in flight gear is simply to fly during golden hour. Well guys, that's all we got time for. Hopefully you've learned something new, and I'll see you in the next flight gear video. Also, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more great videos. Have a great day.